Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to my channel, Untold Heart Stories. Let's start the story.
My mother-in-law smiled in family photos while secretly trying to destroy my marriage behind my back. At least, that's what she thought she was doing. For months, she kept making strange little comments about my daughter. She doesn't really look like Ethan. Interesting how she has different eyes. At first, I ignored it. Families can be weird sometimes. But then one afternoon, I walked into my kitchen and heard her whispering to my husband. "You need a DNA test before it's too late." I froze. My entire body went cold. Not because I was scared of the results. I had never cheated on my husband for even 1 second. No, what hurt was realizing this woman genuinely believed I was capable of betraying her son. And the craziest part, the DNA test she secretly arranged didn't expose my secret. It exposed hers. Flushed heartbreak. I met Ethan when I was 27. He was kind in a way that felt rare. Quiet, steady, safe. After years of toxic relationships and emotionally unavailable men, meeting Ethan felt like finally exhaling after holding my breath too long. We got married 2 years later. And honestly, our marriage was happy, not perfect, but real. We laughed a lot, supported each other, built a peaceful life together. Then our daughter Sophie was born. And everything felt complete. Sophie was beautiful, big brown eyes, dark curly hair, the happiest little laugh I had ever heard. She became the center of our entire world instantly. Well, almost everyone's world, because Ethan's mother, Linda, was strange from the beginning. At first, it was subtle. Tiny comments, little observations disguised as jokes. She'd say while staring at Sophie. She definitely didn't get Ethan's nose. Or, interesting, nobody in our family has curly hair. The first few times, I laughed politely. Because honestly, I thought she was kidding. But eventually, the comments became harder to ignore. At Sophie's second birthday party, Linda spent nearly 20 minutes showing guests old family photo albums. Pointing at baby pictures, comparing facial features, talking about genetics. It was weird, really weird. That night after everyone left, I finally asked Ethan directly, "Does your mom not think Sophie is yours?" He looked uncomfortable immediately. "She's old-fashioned," he said carefully. "That's not an answer." Ethan sighed heavily. "She just thinks Sophie doesn't resemble me much." I stared at him in disbelief. And nothing," he replied quickly. "I know Sophie's my daughter." But something about the way he said it bothered me. Not because he doubted me. Because he sounded exhausted. Like this conversation had already been happening privately behind my back. Over the next few months, Linda became increasingly obsessive. She'd randomly ask questions like, "Are you sure there wasn't overlap with anyone before Ethan?" Or, "Hospitals mix babies up sometimes." I honestly thought she was losing her mind. Then one Sunday afternoon, everything changed. I had come home early from grocery shopping. The house was quiet, too quiet. As I walked toward the kitchen, I heard Linda whispering sharply, "You need a DNA test before it's too late." I stopped walking instantly. Ethan sounded frustrated. "Mom, stop. I'm serious," Linda insisted. "She looks nothing like you." My hands started shaking. Then Ethan said something that hurt even more. "She's my daughter. Not. She would never cheat. Not. I trust my wife. Just. She's my daughter." And suddenly, I realized doubt had already entered our marriage. Even if only slightly. I walked into the kitchen slowly. Both of them froze. Linda's face turned pale instantly. "How long have you been questioning me?" I asked quietly. Nobody answered. I looked directly at Ethan. "How long?" He rubbed his forehead nervously. "I never thought you cheated," he said quickly. But, silence. That silence broke something inside me. Not because I feared the DNA test. Because trust had been damaged. Linda suddenly crossed her arms defensively. "If there's nothing to hide, then why are you upset?" I laughed in disbelief. "You seriously think accusing me of cheating shouldn't upset me?" Ethan stood up immediately. "Everyone calm down." "No," I snapped. "Your mother has spent 2 years implying our daughter isn't yours." Linda rolled her eyes dramatically. "I'm protecting my son." That sentence made me furious. "From what?" I demanded. "A faithful wife." The room went silent. Then Linda said the sentence that changed everything. "DNA doesn't lie." I looked directly at her. "Fine." Everyone froze. "You want a DNA test?" I continued coldly. "Let's do one." Ethan looked shocked. "Claire." "No," I interrupted. "Let's settle this permanently." Linda actually looked satisfied, confident, like she had already won. And honestly, That confidence should have warned us all. The test was scheduled the following week. The entire situation made me sick emotionally. I barely slept, barely ate, not because I feared the results. Because I hated what our family had become. Ethan kept apologizing constantly, but apologies don't magically restore trust. Especially when someone allowed suspicion to exist in the first place. The day results arrived, Linda insisted on being present. Of course she did. She walked into our house carrying coffee like this was some exciting family event. I genuinely wanted to throw her out. Instead, I sat silently beside Ethan while he opened the envelope. My heart pounded, not from fear, from anger. Ethan unfolded the papers slowly. Then suddenly, his expression changed completely. Confusion, shock, disbelief. What? Linda asked impatiently. Ethan stared at the page. Then looked at his mother. Mom. Something in his voice made my stomach twist. What? Linda repeated nervously. Ethan swallowed hard. The test says Sophie is my daughter. Linda's face immediately tightened. But, Ethan continued slowly, there's something else. The room became completely silent. What do you mean? I whispered. Ethan looked pale. The report flagged a genetic inconsistency. Linda looked confused now. Actually confused. Then Ethan said words none of us expected. It says Dad isn't biologically related to me. Silence. Absolute silence. I genuinely thought time stopped. Linda's coffee cup slipped from her hand and shattered across the kitchen floor. No, she whispered instantly. Ethan looked completely numb. The DNA test says Grandpa's genetics match me more than Dad's. I felt physically sick, because suddenly, everything made horrifying sense. Linda hadn't been obsessed with Sophie's DNA because she distrusted me. She was terrified her own secret would eventually surface. 32 years earlier, Linda had cheated on Ethan's father. And somehow, she spent decades hiding it. Until the DNA test she demanded exposed her instead. Ethan looked devastated. Mom, he whispered, is it true? Linda started crying immediately. Hard, panicked. It was one mistake, she sobbed. One mistake. The irony nearly knocked the air out of me. This woman spent years accusing me of betrayal, while secretly hiding her own. Ethan stood there frozen, completely shattered. Then finally, he asked the question none of us expected. Does Dad know? Linda's silence answered everything. And suddenly, the room exploded emotionally. Ethan started yelling, years of trust collapsing in real time. Linda crying hysterically, me standing there stunned. But honestly, the most painful part wasn't the secret itself. It was realizing Linda projected her own guilt onto me for years. People often accuse others of the very things they fear inside themselves. And deep down, Linda never trusted loyalty because she herself had broken it. Later that night, after Linda left, Ethan sat beside me crying quietly. I'm so sorry, he whispered. I looked at him for a long moment. You should have trusted me sooner. He nodded instantly, because he knew it was true. And honestly, that was the hardest part to forgive. Not Linda's accusations, Ethan's hesitation. Over the next few months, the family completely changed. Ethan's father filed for divorce after learning the truth. Linda became isolated from nearly everyone. And Ethan spent a long time rebuilding trust with me. But strangely, our marriage survived, because unlike Linda, we chose honesty once the truth surfaced. And slowly, we rebuilt. One night, months later, Ethan asked me something quietly while watching Sophie sleep. How did you stay so calm through all of this? I looked at our daughter sleeping peacefully. Then answered honestly, because innocent people don't fear the truth. People who constantly accuse others sometimes carry secrets of their own. Projection often reveals more about the accuser than the accused. Real trust is one of the most important parts of marriage. And once doubt enters a relationship, it takes honesty, accountability, and effort to rebuild what suspicion damages. Most importantly, never allow someone else's insecurity to make you question your own integrity. If this story shocked you, thumbs up like this video. Bell subscribe for more emotional stories. Speech balloon comment below. Would you forgive your spouse for doubting you after this?